I, 24 male, have two sets of twins. The first set are kindergarten-age boys, and the second set are toddler girls. My husband, 27, always complains that the house isn't up to his standards and that it's a mess, or that I sometimes put on frozen meals instead of cooking a fresh dinner. It's super irritating because I'm expected to do everything just because I work from home. He thinks that I have it easier than his job, which is physical labor. I can never do anything because when he has time off, all he wants to do is sleep, and he says he needs it because he's exhausted from work, or he wants to use his break to hang out with his friends. So basically, all the chores are usually thrown at me, and I've had enough of it. And it showed when my friend called me to hang out, and when I asked my husband to watch them so I could go, he went into a rant about how he's tired and he's been working all week, and the least I could do is watch the children so that he could get some rest because I'm home all day with easy work. So I decided that after I put the children to sleep that night, I decided to leave a note saying that I'll be out and just leave and have a night out with the girls, which turned into a weekend out with the girls. When morning time came, he was calling and texting me nonstop, and when I answered, he was yelling at me and cursing me out. When my friends overheard the conversation, they were shocked and hung up the phone for me and told me to mute it. I didn't have any plans to stay any longer than the night, but when my friends overheard how my husband spoke to me, they convinced me to stay and even told me they'd take me out to eat and planned a whole day for me. When I got back, the place was a complete and utter mess, like a pile full of dishes and garbage all over the place. Floors were sticky, and the place just smelled awful. My husband, of course, was angry and had a suitcase already packed. He barely said 2 words to me and just left and texted me, saying he would stay at his mom's. Now I feel horrible because clearly he couldn't handle taking care of the kids for this long by himself. And I feel like an idiot and don't want this to ruin my marriage. Do you all think I'm an idiot for the way I acted? What? Are you serious? Not the idiot. Your husband is an idiot to the 100th degree. Does he realize he has 4 children and is responsible for physically taking care of them and being financially responsible for them? Is he one of those men who think that they don't have to contribute anything except money to the relationship and household? Because he sounds like a terrible partner and a pretty terrible dad, too. I don't know if he's always been this way or if it's new, but you need to find a way to set him straight. I guess it's true when they say love is blind. OP, I'd recommend you pack 2 sets of suitcases and drop them and the kids off at his mom's, too. If he expects you to clean the place, he needs to look after the kids and give you some additional free time, too. It's not solely your job to raise your children. It's both of yours. If he can have time to hang out with friends, so can you. I don't know why people put up with crappy partners like this, but please realize your worth and make your partner realize your worth because you deserve so much better than this BS. What is this, the 60s? Wait, no, even my grandfather didn't do this. OP's husband belongs in the freaking Stone Age. I don't know what else to say. This is not a marriage. It's a joke. You have 5 kids. Good one of them went back to his mommy. Let him stay with her, and I strongly recommend a divorce. He's providing you with 0 support and then whining when asked to help at all or when things aren't perfect. It doesn't matter if your job is easier or not. It's probably not easier, just different. He's not entitled to mooch off of you. Honey, forget this. You can do it on your own. This, OP, you'd be better off as a single mom. If you are divorced, you'll get child support and less cooking and mess to deal with. Have your friends help with the kids while he's away. Get into a lawyer. Follow what the lawyer says to do and get out of this situation. You deserve better. He can stay with his mommy and see how fast she gets tired of cooking and cleaning for this boy. I'd be so embarrassed if my son were like this. My name is Evangeline. That's my legal name. I don't like being called Evangeline, just a nickname from it. I don't go by Eve, Evie, or Eva, or any variation of that. I go by Angie, and I've always gone by that. With the exception of appointments and stuff that require me to use my full name, I've always introduced myself as Angie. I've never experienced a desire to be called anything else, so everyone knows me as Angie. I recently met my brother's girlfriend for the first time. I introduced myself as Angie, as did my brother, and she just kept calling me anything but that. I explained that it's short for Evangeline, but that nobody calls me that. She kept calling me Eve or Eva, or even Evangeline. I kept correcting her, just saying it's actually Angie, and I even said with a smile that I get she's probably nervous, and it's always nerve-wracking meeting new people. It got to the point where I corrected her so much that it almost felt like she was doing it deliberately, and I found it really rude. And I don't know about anyone else, but I think it's common courtesy to respect someone enough to call them by their right name at least. She wouldn't stop calling me the wrong name, and it really irked me. So I just said it was nice to meet her, but I'm sorry, but I had to go and just left. Now my brother's mad because he feels like I made it clear I didn't like his girlfriend. Apparently her feelings are hurt, and he wants me to apologize. I told him, frankly, I didn't care how she felt. What about me? I was there for like an hour, and she constantly kept calling me the wrong name, and it felt like I was being disrespected. So I left. He's telling me that I'm a grown woman and to just deal with someone calling me the wrong name. I just feel that even if she was nervous, why wouldn't she get it, even after a few times of me saying, my name is Angie? Was I the idiot? I also don't know if it matters, but I'm 27, my brother's 25, and his girlfriend is 22. Not the idiot. You introduced yourself as Angie and showed her a lot of grace for her misnaming you for an entire hour. And it's not like your name is unusual or difficult to say or remember. I don't want to say she was doing it on purpose, but she wasn't even messing up and calling you Annie or something similar to the name you gave her. It makes no sense that soon after being introduced. It's not that hard to call a person by the correct name, but unless she has some kind of medical condition, I too would feel she was being deliberately disrespectful, like she thought it was funny or something. Get her a nickname for me, will ya? I agree with you. She was doing it on purpose. It's easy to respect someone's choice of what they would prefer to be called. However, your brother and her can screw right off. Your brother's acting in a really gross manner. He's ignoring your feelings because he can take you for granted while trying to protect the feelings of someone who mistreated you because his relationship with his girlfriend is more fragile. Tell your brother that she isn't worth your time if she can't even respect your name. I, 37 female, have been dating Martin, 39, for a year and a half. I have a daughter, Scarlett, tween, and he has two daughters, Miley, young teen, and Joanna, older tween. I'm a single mother to Scarlett. Her father sends me monthly maintenance, but has never been an active parent or met Scarlett. I also grew up in care, so I have no family or anything, whereas Martin is divorced and shares custody with his ex-wife. Their custody agreement is very flexible, with the girls sometimes staying with him or their mom longer, or often spending time with both parents together. It bothered me a lot that he's still good friends with his ex-wife, and Martin said if I couldn't handle the fact that he could co-parent well and be amicable with his ex, he would end things. I think I got over my jealousy and that the girl's mother and I got on. Anyway, since we've been dating a while and have started discussing potentially living together, I think it's only fair that Scarlett is more involved and treated the same as Martin's daughters by his parents. She met them for the first time a few months ago and has seen them a few times since, but she's treated virtually like a stranger. At Christmas, Miley and Joanna were spoiled rotten. They got money, gifts, toys, gift vouchers, and makeup. All they got Scarlett was an embroidered blanket thing Martin's mother spent weeks knitting, apparently with her name on it, 2 gift vouchers, and a doll. They'll take Martin's girls for overnight sleepovers, but my kid is excluded. They say it's because they don't know her well and are uncomfortable looking after her for now. They'll buy Joanna and Miley sweets or little trinkets and give them a couple of pounds occasionally. But as for Scarlett, they might only give her one thing and that's it. It's not fair for Scarlett. The last straw was when his parents asked if we'd like to go to Disneyland Paris with them. They offered to pay for Martin and the girls, and said that they could pay for part of my and Scarlett's travel expenses, but that I'd have to pay the rest. I lost it and told Martin he needed to tell his parents to treat Scarlett like his girls are treated. It's not fair to her that she has to watch her siblings being spoiled, and she isn't. He lashed out in return and said his parents have been nothing but accommodating to Scarlett by including her in things and getting her stuff at Christmas, and so on. He said I'm incredibly selfish to expect his parents to treat my daughter, who they barely know, like their grandchildren. He said that I was bitter and jealous, and it wasn't like we were married or living together. He used the example of the blanket being a really sweet gift that shows how much his mother cares. He also said it's perfectly reasonable for his parents to expect me to pay for my own child to go to Disney, and that my parents don't need to pay anything at all for us. He also said I'm raising my daughter not to learn the value of the word no, and that she can just be expected to get whatever he wants. He also said that Joanna and Miley are not Scarlett's sisters. It's never been emphasized that they were, and they don't view Scarlett as that. He said that I needed to get my butt in gear and realize nothing's being done to discriminate against or exclude Scarlett. Am I the idiot? Edit. I view Joanna and Miley as bonus daughters, so Scarlett calls them her sisters. Joanna and Miley do not view me as a mother figure in any way, only as dad's girlfriends. It really hurts, but I don't think I'm pushy or anything. I just think of us as a blended family unit, whereas Joanna and Miley have said that I'm just the woman their dad is dating. Scarlett is nothing to them, family-wise. I have tried to get them to involve her whenever they're doing stuff, and they outright refuse. So they only, as they put it, tolerate her. Martin has chewed me out about this before, claiming I'm trying to insert my daughter and his daughter's friendship group in activities, and it greatly upsets Scarlett because she just wants to be included. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and I want Joanna and Miley to be her friends. You are the idiot. It sounds like they're trying. They're giving her thoughtful gifts and offering to help pay for you and Scarlett to go to Disney. That's pretty generous, considering you're not married, and they only met Scarlett a few months ago. Frankly, you sound ungrateful and grabby, demanding they treat her like an instant grandchild and lavish gifts upon her. It's also rather telling that you say their grandchildren were spoiled rotten by their grandparents at Christmas. It reeks of jealousy and makes us wonder why you want someone to spoil your daughter rotten too. Yikes, they've only been together for less than 2 years, and they're not married or anything. OP is way too pushy about making this a family when it isn't, at least not yet. And the more OP pushes, the more pushback she'll get. OP, go to therapy. You have abandonment issues, and you're making things worse for your relationship and for your daughter. This awful woman only spent weeks knitting my daughter a blanket. Imagine an old lady knitting your child personalized stuff, and you getting huffy. That's just mean. Also a huge red flag that OP has a problem with her boyfriend and ex-wife having a great co-parenting relationship and forcing the girls to be friends. And instead of working to improve her daughter's life, she's money grubbing on a man, hoping she can snag him as future daddy ATM instead. Geez, I don't think any of this matters because she's getting dumped soon. My boyfriend of a year owns his place and has a cat, Libby. She's 2 years old and has always gone outside. He's stopping that, as he said she injured her paw quite badly and had scratches on her after another cat attacked her. He said a few of his neighbors have become concerned recently as their cats have also become injured. He said that he gets it's a change for Libby, as she's been meowing at the door to be let out, but that it's for her health and safety. And he said he's planning on building some outside open-air cage thing, so she's still outside but concealed in it. I was there the other night, and Libby was meowing at the back door. I said it wouldn't hurt to let her out, as she was very loud. He says he just ignores her for 10 minutes, and she's fine, and told me not to let her out. She seemed really insistent, so I let her out. The boyfriend was none the wiser, but after a while he noticed how quiet his house was and started to look for Libby as she normally cuddles him after not being let out. He started freaking out when he couldn't find her, and I told him I let her out. He got really angry and asked, "Why the heck would you do that when I told you I didn't want my cat outside?" He started saying I was rude, insensitive, and horrible for what I did. Libby came back after like an hour. She was fine. My boyfriend kicked me out and has been cold to me since. He says he doesn't trust me in his house or near his cat anymore. She's a really sweet girl and I love her, and I don't think I did anything wrong. I think he's being paranoid just because she got hurt once. I'm trying to make him see my POV, that he's being too overprotective, and he says I'm an idiot and he needs some space from me. Yeah, you've demonstrated that you can't be trusted in his house or near his cat. You are the idiot. Cats that go outside have a shorter lifespan and risk getting attacked by other animals, hit by cars, and risk diseases and ticks. Not your cat, home, or vet bills to pay if the cat had gotten injured. I would break up with you. Not even that. Owls, eagles, coyotes, foxes, and many others will attack cats. And cats, being an invasive species, have no instincts regarding those predators to help them survive such attacks. Thus, that adorable stripy youngster you raised to be your chest warmer in the morning might never come home after being snagged by a coyote. Keep your fur kids at home and get them chipped no matter what. Absolutely. My mom will let my cat out intentionally against my wishes when I stayed with her a summer between college semesters. I assume it's a control thing with people like this and a bit of a lack of care for animals. OP was directly told no. She didn't like that and was annoyed with the meowing, so she had to show off how big her pee-pee is and is playing the, well, I knew she'd be fine, and she was fine, and she used to do it, so what? Card, after she's been called out. I hope you enjoy being single, OP. My son is a young teen, but looks quite a bit older. Both my wife and I are tall, but he's set to pass me since he's 5'10" and well-built. He's a great kid, and I've never suspected him of saying or doing anything bad. We have a big yard and garden, and he'll go out there to read or just mess around. Now, our neighbor's yard is about 100 feet away, and there are these little patches of trees between us, but we don't have fences, so you can see into each other's yards. We don't really talk or know each other, but he's got 2 daughters a bit younger than my son. The other week, the neighbor said my son is making his daughters uncomfortable. I asked if he did anything, and he said no, not like that. It's just that he sort of intimidates them by hanging around the yard. I talked with my son, and he confirmed he never even looked in that direction. He never talked to them or even heard or saw them being uncomfortable. So I had a talk with my son earlier than I expected. I told him that sometimes people are going to be uncomfortable around him. This isn't his fault or their fault. We just need to respect other people and make sure we aren't imposing ourselves on others. I get it, and I'm a big guy. I always have to cross the street because women will speed up when they see me, which I completely understand. Heck, I even try to stay in more to avoid that. So I told my son that I wasn't mad, but he probably shouldn't linger out in the yard alone anymore. He was upset and understood. My wife is furious. She says I should have talked to her first, and she's right on that front, and that our son hasn't done anything. I get that, but still, I don't think he should be in the yard if he's making other people uncomfortable. You are the idiot. Your son can't stand in his own yard because he's tall and male? That's ridiculous. Your neighbor's issues are their issues, not your son's issues. You're teaching him to be ashamed of who he is because he might make others uncomfortable. I guess Black kids, Asian kids, Hispanic kids, gay kids, trans kids, overweight kids, very short kids, and disabled kids should also hide away because they might make someone uncomfortable. Your neighbor is a jerk, teaching his daughters BS. You should leash and muzzle him when you let him out in the yard to play. That'll help the neighbors feel more comfortable. Their discomfort sounds like a them problem. He's not on their property or in a public space. Tell them to put up a privacy fence and leave you alone if they feel so strongly about it. Yeah, I feel sorry for OP's son because he's basically being made to feel like he's trapped inside for no real reason. Simply existing, in your own yard no less, is not imposing yourself on people. For goodness sake, the neighbor can build a fence if they have issues with their neighbors using their own yard. It sounds like OP has some internalized misandry. He might benefit from talking to a therapist.